Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make these cards, you can visit my online store and the link is in the description box below. Today I'd like to share with you another alternative project using the January 2021 Paper Pumpkin Kit. This kit is called Sending Hearts, and it made 8 cards, and these are the original projects. And so what I like to do is take the product that's inside that kit, change up the cards a little bit, and come up with some alternative ideas. If you're interested in seeing me unbox this kit, or any of my other alternative projects, you can click on the link in the top right corner. Today's alternative projects are a fun fold card, and they are an easel card. And that just means that they open on the front, and so the base is just a flat card base, and then they connect to something and they stay standing like an easel would. So here's what it would look like from your point of view. And then here's the second card. And this one connects to the text box for the card. And this one's a fun one because when it's closed, it looks like a banner shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and share how to make these cards with you today. Let's get started. Don't miss out on next month's kit. The February Bouquet of Hope Paper Pumpkin Kit provides enough supplies to create 9 cards with coordinating envelopes. This soft, sympathetic kit includes patterned card bases, die-cut floral elements, ribbon, embellishments, and more. Plus, the versatile stamp set can be used throughout the year. Make sure to sign up by February 10th. So the first thing we're going to do is some stamping. So let's start with this card. For this one, you're going to need 2 of those large hearts from the stamp set that came in the kit. And we're doing that in the Poppy Parade ink spot. And this also came in the kit. And then we're going to be stamping Hi Valentine in the black Memento ink on the back side of one of the Petal Pink labels. So here is my scrap paper and my heart. Now I've already stamped and cut out one. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the second. You just want to make sure that because this image has a lot of solid hearts, that you evenly add the ink. So you want to see that the ink is nice and strong on the stamp before you stamp it to the cardstock. Make sure to go ahead and get that center as well. Then if you need to, just go back to kind of re-ink everything. And then I have been using my paper piercing mat just to give a better image. And then go ahead and stamp that on some scrap paper. Nice even pressure everywhere to make sure you get a good image here. So once you've stamped that twice, you can go ahead and just cut out this heart. I've got a pair of paper snips from Stampin' Up! I really like them for fussy cutting. And what I'm doing is just kind of finding that edge of the heart that goes around this image and just kind of cutting that out. So just keep things nice and smooth as you come around the image just to create a good heart shape. So now I have 2 of those hearts. Next I'm going to stamp the greeting, and I wanted to use Hi Valentine for this one, and I'm doing that in the black ink. And like I said, I flipped over the label so that it is on the white side. And I've stamped that right in the center.
Okay, so for now, our stamping for this card is done. I do want to point out that I've used the Snail Die Cut from the add-on kit for this card. However, if you don't have that add-on kit, you can stamp and cut out the image from the stamp set that came in the Paper Pumpkin kit. Okay, so for our second card, we're going to stamp and then punch out the snail image with the rectangular postage stamp punch. And we're also adding the greeting on another one of those Petal Pink labels on the pink side. So the reason I've stamped this in Memento ink is so that I can color it with the Stampin' Blend markers. And then I'll just go ahead and stamp the greeting in the center of the Petal Pink label as well. Okay, so both of those things are stamped. So now I'm going to take that rectangular postage stamp punch and slide it in and punch out this cute little snail. And I want him to be at the bottom of that punch. Next, I'm going to go ahead and color this in. And I've got two different colors of my blend markers. I've got Petal Pink and Pool Party. And I'm going to use both the light and the dark. I'm going to start with the light colors, and I'm just going to fill in these shapes. The light Petal Pink goes on the body of the snail. And then take the dark and just add a little shadow in the front and on the bottom. And then if you'd like to add a little shadow, you can add them up here by the eyes as well. And then I'm going to add some Pool Party to the shell. And I'm just going to do the same. Start with the light. And then take the dark. And I'm going to go around the outside edge and then on the inside of that shell, just to give it some dimension. And so that image is all stamped and colored. Okay, so let's go back to card number 1, and we're going to go ahead and put this card together. So the things you're going to need would be one of the card bases from the kit, and I have already cut it in half at the 4.5 score line. So this is what it looks like when it comes in the kit, and I've just separated the front from the back, and I've used that for the base of my easel card. Next, I have a piece of white cardstock, and it's cut to 3¼ inches by 8.5 inches, and I'm going to score this, and it's going to be the base for my easel. I then have a piece of black cardstock, and it's just cut slightly larger than this piece will be. And so that's going to be 3 3/8 by 4 3/8. And then lastly, I have a piece of the Petal Pink cardstock that came from the kit. This is the leftover piece from, I think it was my alternative project number 3, where we punched out some hearts. And so this was the piece that's left over, and we're just going to add it right over this black piece. And its final measurements are 3¼ by 4¼ So let's go ahead and start by scoring the long piece of white cardstock. So we're going to start by going right in half at 4¼ inches. So this strip is 8.5 inches long, and we're going to score it at 4¼ And remember to use your score blade and not your cutting blade. So then I'm going to slide my cardstock down to 2 1/8. And this is going to be half of one of those sides. So you'll see here that I have a score line and another score line. So what I'm looking for here is scored in half and then in half again. So 4¼ and then 2 1/8. And it's going to fold up like this. So you can go ahead and use a bone folder So that smaller section gets folded into the middle, and then the middle gets folded right in half. So it looks like this, and that's how you create your easel there. Okay, so everything else is just gluing things down. So let's start by adding our Petal Pink cardstock to the black cardstock. And I'm just going to use a little bit of the Stampin' Seal. If you have tear and tape, that would also be a really good adhesive for this, since it's a moving card. You want to make sure you have a nice strong bond between your pieces. This is just going to give us a small little border around that card base. On your easel, you're going to just add adhesive to the bottom half of this card. And then flip both of them over. And because this piece is slightly larger, we're just going to center it right on the back of this black cardstock. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when you're done. And now we're going to add adhesive to the full back. And we're going to center it now on our card base. So this is just a flat card base. It doesn't open. If you did want to create a card that opened, you could as well. And then you're just going to kind of eyeball it and center that right there. And nice good pressure. And then you can see how that opens. Okay. So up and down, just kind of slides. All right, and so now we're just going to add our little decorative elements. So I'm going to first start with my heart. This is just going to get added right onto my card. Just a little lower than center. Make sure your heart doesn't go off the edge, and just a slight angle into the middle. Next, I have my greeting that we've already stamped, and on the back, I'm going to add some adhesive. And I have already cut 12 inches of ribbon and then split the ribbon down both sides, except for right in the middle. That kind of is holding everything together. And then I'm going to take the middle and I'm going to place that in the center of my label, just at a little angle, and then wrap those cut ends around to create a faux bow. And you're going to see that ribbon start to fray a little bit, and that's okay. You want that look, kind of a messy bow look. So you're going to end up with something like this. And then you'll just add it to your card right in the center with some dimensionals. So then just place that. You're just going to cover the heart just slightly and come to about to the edge on the left side. So just a little close to that edge there. And then we'll add the snail. If you'd like, you can place a little adhesive over the shell area and then place a dimensional down at the bottom for support. And then I'm just going to kind of bring that up a little bit so we can see more of that ribbon. And then this is just going to go right over that greeting and the heart, just like that. Grab those heart enamels from the kit, and you could add them right onto the petal pink if you'd like. I want to make them stand out just a little bit more. And so I have my Poppy Parade blends, and I'm going to go ahead and color in 3 of these. I think I'll do 2 hearts and a flower, just to kind of bring in another little shape there. And then when those are dry, you can add them to your card. I like to use my pickup tool And because these are, they have a really strong adhesive on the back, I'm just going to use the pointy end to kind of pick them up and then place them. So I'm going to do 2 hearts at the top and then the flower down by the snail. So then on the inside, we need to place something that's going to help the easel stay in place. And there's lots of different ways you can do this. For these cards, I'm adding another element and I'm using dimensionals to pop it up. So for the second heart, you're going to take it and add a couple dimensionals to the back. Then you're going to lift up your card, and on the back, you're going to line up the second heart right below the first one, just so that you don't see it. And then I'm pinching the top here, and then when I lay that down, it's going to be in the right place so that it's hidden when that card is closed, but then when it opens, it appears. And then we can use it to hold our easel card in place. And then you can write your little message on the outside of the heart. I also added a little XOXO from the stamp set down here in the corner. And you could do that in the Poppy Parade or in the black. I've just got the black right here, so I'm going to do it in that. And then lift this up. And stamp it right there in the corner. Whoop. Okay, and that card is all done. So let's just quickly move over to this second card and we can put that one together. Now this easel card is a little different when we score the dimensions for this card base, the easel card base. So let's go ahead and grab the things we need for this card. So I have the Petal Pink Cardbase that came in the kit, and just like the first one, I've cut it down the score line to separate the front from the back. I have a piece of Pool Party cardstock, and this has been cut to 3 inches by 8.5 inches, and it's going to be our easel base. I then have a piece of white cardstock that's cut to 2.5 by 2.5. So that's a square, and that's going to be where we can write our message. And then I have a piece of the Poppy Parade card base from the kit. This piece comes from my alternative number 2, and it was the centerpiece we cut from behind the mailbox. So if you've watched that one, then this is that piece there. This piece is 3.25 by 3.5 inches. And then we do have those stamped images. And I do have a piece of ribbon that's about 4.5 inches. And then a punched piece. This is a flower that's been punched from the corner of the heart die cut. So these got these little cute little images in the corners. And on my first alternative, I cut out the heart. And then I've just punched this corner with the flower punch. And that's where this piece comes from. Okay, so we're going to start with the scoring on this one. And what we're looking for is actually looking for an extra inch at the bottom. So because this is 8.5 inches and we're ignoring that inch, we're really going to score in the middle of the measurement 7.5. So think about 7.5. 7 inches would be 3.5, and then the other half would add 1/4. So we're going to start our score line at 3 3/4 inches. And then when this closes, it's going to give us that extra inch at the bottom for our banner. So now we're going to score in the center of this size here. So that would be half of 3 1/4, which is 1 7/8, if I am thinking correctly, because 1.5 is 3, and then 1/4 is 1/2, and then 1/8 is that. So yep, 1 7/8. And make sure to score instead of cut. So now, just like before, you're going to fold that first score line into the center. Use a bone folder to make a nice crease, and then bring the middle one down as well. And you'll see here that we have that 1-inch section that's left over. So I'm going to go the tall way, and it's just slightly longer here on my left side than it is on the top. So the top is 3 1/4 and this is 3 1/2. And so I want to place it so that 3 1/4 is running along the top. And I'm going to add it all the way to the bottom of this flap. So it's going to show at the top and not show here at the bottom. But then we're going to have that banner here that will show instead. So add some adhesive to this piece at the bottom. So it's the underneath that score line. And then if you need to use your grid paper to kind of help you line everything up, you can. You're just looking for a little bit of overhang on the left and right, and then it should be about 1/4 of an inch below the top there. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when it goes up into the easel. And now we need to cut the banner shape at the bottom. So go ahead and find the center. I am just going to use my grid paper here, and it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this here's the center, and I'm just going to cut up into the space, maybe about 3/4 of an inch, so about halfway. So you can see here that I still have a pretty good space between the bottom here and the top of that banner. And then you go from the corner to the top of that slit. And just try to make a nice straight line with your scissors. Okay, so then you have that fun fishtail banner for your card. So now we can add this to the center of our flat card base. Just add some adhesive and eyeball it. And now we can decorate the front with our stamped and colored images. This guy is just going to go down with some dimensionals. And I've just placed him in the bottom right corner with just a little gap on the left, on the right and the bottom. Then we're going to add that small piece of ribbon to the right side of our greeting. And you're just going to fold it in half, pinch it a little bit, and then you can place it at a slight angle if you want. And then take a good pair of scissors and just angle the ends into kind of like a banner shape, just like our cardstock. And then this gets added with a dimensional on the left, and then that right side is going to go over our postage stamp punch. So it's going to look something like this. And then we'll add our little flower, and I'm going to just trim the edge here to get a dimensional that's about half the size so that it fits nicely behind this flower shape. And if you want to curl the ends a little bit, you can, just to give it a little more three-dimensional feeling. And that's just going to go right next to that ribbon, kind of in between your text. So you don't want to cover up any of that text. And then we'll add some of the enamel dots. And because we're going to be placing them on the Poppy Parade, we can leave them in the petal pink color so that they stand out. And you can place them anywhere on your card. And I'm just going to place them in the corners and use 3 different sizes. So then the last thing we need to do is just add that little square that's going to hold up our easel when it is folded open. So place some dimensionals on the back, and this just helps it pop up so that the front of that easel can catch and hold. And you may want to add this after you've written your little greeting to whoever's going to receive this fun card, or you can just write it very carefully because it does have the dimensionals, so that might make it a little tough to write on. You want to leave about a 1/2 inch at the top for your easel to connect so that there's a little bit of space there. If it's too close to the top, then it has a hard time connecting. And so your card is all done. So I hope you enjoyed watching me create these fun easel cards today. For written instructions and to see close-up images, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you're interested in subscribing to Paper Pumpkin, please visit the link in the description box below to sign up. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.